All right, we got a new welder for the shop. What do you say we get her laid out, set up, and ready to weld? We're gonna start welding right now. Whole new adventure for me. We're going to TIG. So, yep, we're about to have a whole new adventure here at the shop. Alrighty. So this company offers the torch kit to set this welder up for TIG. And, you know, it's an additional purchase, but, you know, it does get the job done. So yes, we've got ahead. We got ourselves a TIG setup, and we're getting ready to get this box open to get the actual welder itself out of here. This is a 3-in-1 welder. It does stick, MIG, and TIG, but we are setting it up for TIG. Got ourselves some good packaging here. It's not just the box, they got the whole box even wrapped in plastic. I like the packaging job. Everything is packed in there nice and tight. Very nice and tight. Nothing's gonna get fumbled around. Very little chance of issues during shipping when you do it like this. Very small welder though, very tiny machine. You don't need a lot, you know? But here she is, in her glory. Look at that. Look, she's so light. Look, it's so light, I can lift it with one finger with no effort. Now this is the Bestarc MIG 145, but it is capable of running TIG. We are going to plan on setting it up for TIG. As you can see, it's already set up with the MIG setup. We got ourselves our instruction book. We have an adapter. The welder comes from the factory set up for 220, but all you do for 110 welding is plug this adapter in and then plug it in to your normal 110 style outlet. The welder itself is, can automatically detect which you're set up for, and it will adjust your amperages accordingly. You will have more power available if you're running the 220. I have 220 available here at the shop, so we will be running it on 220. Now it comes with everything you need to get set up for MIG. You got some extra tips. You got a wheel here. This helps to set up your different gauges of MIG wire. We have the grounding clamp. We have our stinger set up for stick welding. We got a little belt here that we could actually hook it up to this and carry it around nice and easy. A little tool for working on your different tips or whatnot. And our gas hose. We also got 2 spools of MIG wire with this welder. One is called flux core, which does not require gas. The other one is solid, which will require gas. You can choose whether or not you want to run it with or without gas. The cheapest way, straight out of the box, is to go without gas. The better quality weld will be to go with gas. Now, we're going to get this thing moved over to our welding table, get things set up, and basically we're going to establish ourselves a little welding table for TIG welding. So, what do you say? Let's get on with it. So here she is. I've been running it. You know, we can't give an accurate opinion on something unless we use it, right? So I've been through it. Done some stick welding, done the gasless MIG welding, and we are currently set up for TIG. I am running it as a TIG welder. That's going to be the primary function of this little welder, is to have it set up for TIG. But it is capable of doing MIG as well, so I figured I'd go ahead and get it set up for the gasless MIG, since TIG welding uses a different type of gas. Now the functions on this are really simple, just literally a click of a button away from going from MIG to TIG, and the MMA is your stick welding. So I am running it on TIG. You can see where I have my amperage set right there. It's a little bit thicker piece of metal, so we're running a little more amperage. So I'm starting it out on some thicker metals, and we're kind of working our way down towards the thinner stuff. Practicing our way down to the smaller metal, or the thinner gauge of metals, you know? Now, in order to set it up for TIG, you do need to pick up a bottle of gas. This is straight argon. You do need a regulator, and you need to buy the TIG setup here, the TIG torch setup. Let me show you that. So if you purchase the Bestarc TIG torch, this is basically what you're getting. The gas, you turn it on and off right here. And that's the biggest thing I keep forgetting is I'll strike an arc and I'll forget to turn this off. And when you do that, you burn your tungsten right off of there. It's one of those things we got to get used to, you know. Now, you still got to purchase your tungsten separately. You know, your gas is a separate purchase, your regulator is a separate purchase and all that. But TIG welding, to me, I mean, this is my very first time TIG welding, like literally very first time. And I'm finding it to be better, or I don't know, it's the cleanest weld out of everything I've ever done. Now, this is a 3-in-1 welder, so of course we got to try everything it can do, right? Here we are doing a little stick welding. Tried out a couple of different rods to see how we liked it. Definitely got the job done without any issues whatsoever. And then we went on to some MIG welding here. This is the gasless flux core MIG welding. The machine comes set up like this that you can actually use this straight out of the box. You don't need to purchase anything additional to go straight into the gasless flux core welding. One nice feature whenever you buy this welder. Now we're going to get into the TIG welding. This is the TIG welding. You can see she's a lot less splatter and not as messy in the weld and everything. This is literally some of my first TIG welds that I've ever laid down. And it's one of those things that gets in your head, I guess. You hear about how hard it is. And I can tell you, after about an hour, it really started to get a lot easier. I had to figure a couple of things out, you know, watching how close I get the tungsten to the metal, and, you know, the filler metal. I was using too small of a filler to start with. I had to get something a little bigger. The feed rate, you know, it was just trying to keep up with the feed rate on that smaller filler rod. It was just a little too challenging. So once I got some thicker stuff, boy, it really got a lot easier. But I'm finding the TIG welding is actually going to be my favorite function with this welder, and it'll probably be the thing that I use this welder the most for. I really enjoyed this. Now, this is what my welds are looking like. You know, we're no expert here, but let's see here. This is a TIG. This is a TIG bead right here. So this is where I'm at on my TIG. And this is literally the first time I've been using TIG. So I basically went from stuff that looked like that right there, and that's 2 passes. You can see how this one's a little thin. Then I made another pass over it, and then this is this pass here. You can see how I'm improving as I use it. Got a little porosity going on in there. You know, it's one of those things we got to practice at. Now this here, this is MIG right through here. All this little playing here, that's the gasless MIG welding right there. And underneath it is the stick. I kind of welded it over top of my stick. I got a little deep down here. I had the heat off. She didn't like the 7018 rod as much as it did 6011. So there's something to think about. It wasn't real happy with the 7018. It liked 6011 a lot more. So that's what we're looking like. I actually laid a little piece of TIG up here as well, but I ended up going over top of it with a MIG. You can't see it. You can see here though. I'm just playing, getting some practice in. It's all about practice with welding. Now, as far as my opinion is on this welder, as of right now, I don't have a single complaint. Every feature functions as it should. Some things are better than others, and I personally think the TIG feature of this welder, in my opinion, is probably the sweet spot. This thing really seems to shine with TIG welding. Now, that just might be me, you know. Might be my personal opinion on the matter, but I really like the TIG welding. It seems to be this welder's really like its sweet spot, I guess. I don't have the correct gas to run it with gas on the MIG, but I would probably say that feature as well, because gas MIG is pretty easy. You still have to buy your gas and your regulator, but with MIG welding, you use a different type of gas than what you do with TIG. With TIG welding, you use the same gas for aluminum and steel, whereas MIG, you would use two different types of gases. So that's one of the reasons I chose to start converting to TIG and start getting my practice in on TIG, because we're going to use the same bottle of gas for both steel and aluminum. My first mistake was I first started out with using too small of a filler rod. It was just too small. It was a pain in the butt to get it fed at a high enough rate of speed. So, you know, that was my first mistake, was to go too small in the filler rod. And then just having the patience to really figure it out, you know. That's one of the things. But it's this welding machine, I'll tell you what, I have not one single complaint. It does exactly as it should, and it is cheap. They sell on Amazon for less than like $200. So I have no complaints. You know what I mean? You do have to purchase, you know, extra stuff when you go to TIG, which it's kind of, you know, we're welding. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of supplies to buy when welding. And if you don't have the supplies, you got to buy them. That's the way she runs. You know what I mean? So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this one. I have not a complaint. The Bestarc MiG 145, not one complaint. Does as advertised, and it does it cheap, you know? So, hey, if you're interested in one, I got a link in the description. Click on that Amazon link, and you'll find yourself one. Alrighty, later.